Hello everyone, this is Belarus, a landlocked country in the Eastern Europe. It shares the border with Russia to the east and the northeast, Ukraine to the south, Poland to the west, Lithuania and the Latvia to the northwest. And today we will going to talk about this country because Belarus is about to take part in the Ukrainian war with Russia. And its entry to the Ukrainian war will going to complicate the Ukrainian war more for the United States and the Europe, those who are helping Ukraine since inception. Because the entry of the Belarus will going to put the north of the Ukraine, including Kyiv, in compromising position. As we know, Belarus shares 1084 kilometer border with Ukraine. Not only that, it will going to compromise the most important tri-junction of Europe, the Suwalki Gap. The gap between the Russian Oblast Kaliningrad and the Belarusian territory through Lithuania. If the Suwalki Gap will be compromised, then the protection of Poland and the Baltic nation will be compromised too. The Baltic will be cut off from the rest of the Europe, so the entry of the Belarus will going to add the extra headache for the European Union. To stop the entry of Belarus, the European Union and the United States already put several sanctions against Belarusian businesses, banks and the Belarusian President Lukashenko. Now I would like to tell you restrictive measures taken by the European Union, United States, Canada and the other Western-minded countries. As they put the travel ban on the Belarusian President Lukashenko, they also put the ban on the Viktor Lukashenko. He is the national security advisor and the son of the President Lukashenko. The European countries and the United States also restricted trade from the Belarus, freezes property of 22 targeted individuals. They kicked out 5 Belarusian banks from the global payment system SWIFT. Also put prohibition on transaction with the Central Bank of Belarus. The Europeans also put limitations on the financial inflows from Belarus to the European Union. Along with that, a prohibitions on the provisions of euro-dominated banknotes to Belarus. The Belarus is suffering from the sanctions since October 2020 election. In that election, the opposition was decimated by the state authorities at that time. The European Union has already imposed 5 packages of sanctions in connections with the situation in Belarus, targeting a total of 195 individuals and 35 entities. But Lukashenko is adamant in joining the Russian special military operation against Ukraine. Lukashenko already declared Belarus is in pre-war situation. The Belarus and the Russia signed the military doctrine last November. It states that any military action against one of its member states is an assault on the Union state as a whole. The Belarusian President Lukashenko has already advised President Putin to prepare for the nuclear war against the West, especially the United States. He has already agreed to deploy Russian nuclear weapon in Belarus. Speaking of Belarusian President Lukashenko, he is bringing troops number up to the full strength, intensifying intelligence activities, setting up communications and operational systems, and strengthening combat readiness and other things. Currently, Belarusian army has 65,000 troops, among them 20,000 of whom are supporting staff and cadets. You know, the Belarus is already engaged in Ukrainian war. Now they are officially going into war. I am saying because Belarus is already engaged, because Belarus played a key role in Russian offensive against Ukraine from north. It has provided logistic support to the Russia's invasion, with some Russian forces entering Ukraine across the Belarusian border. By the way, the Russia is already using Belarusian territory to launch the missile strike against Ukrainian capital Kyiv. The Belarus has already provided full control of Yabrovka airfield near Ukraine-Belarusian border to Russia. In that airfield, Russia deployed Iskander and the S-400 missile system. Who knows what Iskander is made up of? Maybe it is nuclear. Anyway, the Europe is agitated and the jitters about the Belarusian entry. The country has planned to send 9,000 troops to the Ukraine. To counter the Russian plan, the European Union decided to train 15,000 Ukrainian soldiers in European soil. Additionally, Ukraine will be provided with 500 million euros and the more for the weapons. The assistance from the European Union will going to broaden the scope of the military command structure and supply and demand between the European Union and the Ukraine. And this plan has been signed off on the crucial decision at a meeting in Luxembourg. You know, the Poland is very enthusiastic about this plan because the Poland will be the main training hub for the Ukrainians. We also know that the Poland is directly and the indirectly involved in the Ukrainian war, being in the favor of the Ukraine. Poland and the United States are the main culprit in the Nord Stream 1 and the 2 sabotage. They have started the plan to destroy the Russian infrastructure. After that, Russia rained Ukraine with more than 100 missiles. So the West started the floodgate, then it opened the gate of annihilation. Since the Russian Crimea bridge destruction, Russia started pounding Ukrainian power structure using missiles and the drones. Because of that, The Ukrainian cities are under darkness. 592 Ukrainian cities are not having the power from their power station because all are damaged. So things are getting worse in the name of Ukraine in the Europe. And the Ukrainian conflict is pushing the world towards the World War III along with the devastated nuclear war. The situation looks like nobody wants to negotiate. Everybody wants to continue with the war because it has become a war of ego between the West and the East. United States pushing the Ukraine towards the total devastation and the Russia is happily destroying it. So the pawn is Ukraine. So in my view, they have to understand what they want to do, what they have to do for their country. And that leads us to our today's question. The question is, do they want to press the self-destructive button or they want to negotiate with Russia involving United Nations? That is up to them. That is not up to the world. The world will not going to decide for them. The world will going to decide for them or decide their fate through the United Nations. They have to involve the United Nations in the negotiation table in which the United States, Russia, India, China, all the bigger power will come into a same group and they will going to negotiate for the Ukraine in the peaceful way. Otherwise, the Europe will going to get devastated because of the nuclear war, inevitable nuclear war. Now our multiple choice questions. The first question is, what is the name of India's first antidote against SARS-CoV-2 virus? The first option is Vincov-19, second option is Anticov-19, third option is Covax-19, fourth option is NoCov-19. The second question is, which city was host of the 6th East Asia Summit Education Ministers meeting held in October 2022? The first option is Kathmandu, Nepal, second option is Hanoi, Vietnam, third option is Singapore, fourth option is Kuala Lumpur. So this is the end of the topic. If you have any question regarding this topic or any other kinds of inquiry, then please mail me to my email address which is tuhin.pawar.academy@gmail.com. I hope you will going to find my topic informative. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support.